Hi everyone. First and foremost, I would like to ask you all, do you all know about instant gratification? Actually, instant gratification is known as the immediate attainability of satisfaction and happiness. Besides, it can be also the experiencing of pleasure and fulfillment without any delay or patience. Okay, what we know nowadays, with the existing of the current technology, we are plugged into the social media and also the internet. For example, first posting a picture on Instagram and we can gain like 100 or 1000 of likes and comments. Status update on Facebook and Twitter can help you to open up the line of communication with your virtual friends and followers. Third, online shopping can make you feel like more satisfied and convenient. Fourth, you can like message with your friend halfway when you're doing your works via texting. Okay, last but not least, with the mobile device that existing now, we can access to like anything we want very quickly and easily. Okay, so the like fast click and quick download can be instantly gratified in the blink of our eyes. That's all. Thank you.
Classical conditioning and smartphone make a powerful combinations. Smartphones are associated with the way to meet our psychological needs for competence. We can connect with other people as well as gain to endless forms of information, news, knowledge, and entertainment. Because this has been repeatedly paired, the sounds of our smartphones elicits automatic reflexive response. Through what is known as second-order conditioning, the sight of a smartphone now elicits motivations to check it. Because smartphone represent a gateway to meet our psychological needs, we are typically in a state of continuous partial attention. We are thinking about them constantly, but usually not consciously. We pay unconsciously attention to them, particularly when they ring. Pavlov paired food with bell, but we seem to be pairing our human connections with our food. We may not celebrate at each alert, but our brain is certainly responding.
We learn to react to smartphone through classical conditioning, which can be divided into two scenarios.
For scenario 1, basically humans learn to react to smartphone through notification, which brings satisfaction after reading to it. Phone is not a trigger for a reaction, but phone is an object that can cause the reaction. When a notification is being received, it will bring reaction towards the phone. By reading to it, it will bring satisfaction, which shown in this diagram, and there's other example which include
Hello.
And for scenario 2, there's multiple ways of using a phone, but most of them function through phone application. Phone application itself will not cause a satisfaction, but whenever there's an input to the phone will send response output, which is the response to the input. The response will bring satisfaction, which shown in the diagram, and the example will include
In the two scenarios above were much likely to lead to positive reinforcement, which will bring gratification, because during the process, they will much likely to receive the outcome that they like, which will repeat the behavior in a long run.
Wanting versus liking. According to researcher Ken Barrage, these are two systems. Wanting, the dopamine, and the liking opioid are complementary. The wanting system propels you to action, and the liking system makes you feel satisfied and therefore pause your seeking. If your seeking isn't turned off for a little while, then you start to run in an endless loop. The dopamine, the wanting system, is stronger than the opioid system, the liking system. You tend to seek more than you are satisfied. In evolution again, is seeking more likely to keep you alive than sitting around in a satisfied stupor.
Dopamine is also stimulated by unpredictability. So when something happens that is not exactly predictable, so that stimulates the dopamine system. Our emails, our Twitter, and text show up, but you don't know exactly when they will or they will be formed. So it's unpredictable. So this is exactly what stimulates the dopamine system. Besides that, dopamine is also it's involved in variable reinforcement schedule, and it's become harder and even harder to stop looking at email or stop texting or stop checking your cell phone to see if you have a message or a new text.
The dopamine system is especially sensitive to the cues when the reward is coming. When there is a small specific cue that signifies something is going to happen, that set off our dopamine system. So when there is a text messages or an email arrive or even the visual cues that enhance the addictive effect. And the dopamine system is most powerfully stimulated when the information coming in isn't in the small, so that it doesn't fully satisfy.
Happiness refers to an overall state of well-being or satisfaction. When you feel happy, you will generally have position through and feeling. And at this time, smartphone has generally been making their user to feel happiness and also a sense of satisfaction. Over the years, the smartphone has been evolving of multiple aspects and have met. Over the years, the smartphone has been evolving on multiple aspects and have met impact on every user life in a positive way. Existing apps have made convenience on a user daily task, which would make feel organized and stress-free, which then could lead to happiness.
Based on Dr. Richard Davidson at the University of Wisconsin, described that biochemical interaction between the limbic system and the frontal lobes, whereby it suggests that our thinking affects the way we feel and vice versa. The implication is that we can use our thought to change our feeling in a very important. This is the essence of psychology lies within the process of intentionally using thought and the usage of technology such as making a decision to use smartphone and enabling ourselves to control the change of our emotion.
Some research shows that smartphone reliance has the potential to positively impact a person's life. They can actually promote health benefits. How? Apparently, the impact of mobile devices on mental health depends on how people use their phones. Active social media use versus passive social media use is positively linked with mental well-being. Social networking through smartphone incorporates and improves social skills, which would contribute to a happier and more uplifting social life. Their findings are also consistent with the fact that depression is often linked with social withdrawal, which means that a person is likely to be in a state of anxiety if they withdraw themselves from social networking.
Distractions are everywhere, especially with the technology of today, like the smartphone. Whether you're driving or having a conversation with someone, by scrolling through your phone can actually distract you. Recalling or retrieving a memory refers to the subsequent re-accessing of events or information from the past which have been previously encoded and stored in the brain. During recall, the brain replays a pattern of neutral activities that was originally generated in response to a particular event, echoing the brain's perception to the real event. These memories are not frozen in time. The new information and suggestions may become incorporated into old memories over time. Therefore, if a person is multitasking with their own smartphones, they are very likely to have a hard time remembering the real-time event.
In addition to that, the distraction make memories more difficult to form. As we are multitasking and quickly scrolling through the information on our smartphones, scarcity of focus occurs. We tend to focus on something little rather than giving our full attention to it. Therefore, our memory retention is not good enough and lacking. The internet has become an external hard drive for our memories, where memory formation has always had a social component. However, nowadays most of us will Google rather than obtaining advice in person. As a result, you will have the answers you need, but will not help you to retain the information long term. This may cause you to look at the advice over and over again, as the memory doesn't form as strongly due to the unavailability of social component. Contemporary smartphone addiction have influenced people in terms of short-term happiness. To relate this, the internet usage has taken away social aspects of memory formation and retention.
Smartphone addiction can interrupt sleep, leading to greater cognitive decline. The blue light and stimulating aspects of smartphones are huge contributors to sleep disturbances. Staring at a screen, for instance, prevents the brain from releasing something that is called melatonin, our natural sleep chemical. Our use of smartphones therefore leads to interrupted sleeping patterns and means that we do not function as well throughout the day, affecting our abilities to work. Smartphone addiction also something that often stems from other underlying emotional and psychological issues. It can be a side effect of depression. Overuse of a handset can be a crutch that people with post-traumatic stress, attention deficit, and social anxiety lean on.